Emily Carter froze when the floorboards beneath her old Detroit home groaned open on their own, revealing the rusted key she had spent her entire childhood trying to forget. The moment she touched it, a cold draft slithered up her spine like fingers made of ice. That night, every locked door in the house clicked open at once, each creak echoing through the hall like someone walking right behind her. She heard whispering, soft at first, then sharper, like children begging for help. When she turned toward her bedroom door, it slammed shut with a violent force that shook the walls. The air thickened. Emily could feel a presence staring at her even in the dark. As the moonlight shifted, she saw him. A tall, skeletal demon crouched at the foot of her bed, its long fingers tapping the same key she found. Its face was nothing but hollow darkness, except for faint red cracks glowing where eyes should be. Emily tried to scream, but no sound escaped her throat. The creature leaned closer, its breath a burning hiss, and whispered her name as if it had been waiting years for her return. Emily's aunt's voice trembled as she admitted the truth. The house had once been an illegal foster home where children were punished by being locked inside dark rooms for days. Emily remembered those rooms, especially the one at the end of the hall, sealed shut since the night a little boy disappeared. Against every instinct, she pressed her ear to the door and heard soft scratching from the other side. Her shaking hand twisted the knob. Slowly, the door creaked open, releasing a foul, cold draft that smelled of dust and decay. Inside, claw marks covered the walls. A child's drawings, faces without mouths, were scattered on the floor. As Emily stepped forward, the shadows around her deepened unnaturally, pulling at her feet like invisible hands. Then a surge of darkness shot across the room and wrapped around her ankle, dragging her violently across the floor. She screamed, kicking against the force, gasping as a sharp pain burned into her wrist. When she tore free, she looked down and saw a fresh mark seared into her skin, a small, perfect keyhole. The air around her trembled as something whispered behind her, "You opened the wrong door." Emily installed cameras in every room, desperate to prove she wasn't losing her mind. But nothing prepared her for what the footage revealed. At exactly 3:11 a.m., the camera above her bed flickered, then focused on the air vent near the ceiling. A thin bone-like hand pushed through the slats, followed by a twisted head that rotated far beyond what a human neck could bear. The creature crawled out, its limbs contorting like a spider as it moved silently toward Emily's sleeping body. She watched the recording in horror as the creature hovered inches above her face, listening to her breathe. The psychic investigator she called arrived pale and shaking after one look at the footage. He said the name in a whisper, Keyface. A demon rumored to prey on vulnerable children, especially those who lived in abandoned Detroit neighborhoods. Emily felt her chest tighten with dread. The psychic explained that Keyface wasn't tied to the house. Demons like him latch onto individuals, feeding off their memories and trauma. Emily realized the truth. Keyface hadn't appeared because she returned home. He had been with her since childhood, waiting for the moment she would remember him, and the key. Determined to uncover the truth, Emily followed old blueprints that hinted at tunnels beneath the foster home. She pried open a hidden metal grate under the kitchen floor and descended into the cold, stale darkness below. The air grew thicker with every step, filled with the damp smell of soil and old metal. The tunnel walls were covered in carved symbols, twisted shapes, spirals, and strange marks resembling keys. As her flashlight swept across them, she noticed something haunting. Small fingerprints pressed into the stone, as if children had tried to claw their way out. Further in, a message etched in soot read, "The key opens you." Her pulse thundered in her ears. Suddenly, A loud clink echoed behind her, like chains being dragged across concrete. Emily spun around just as a skeletal hand emerged from the shadows, gripping her throat with cold, iron-like strength. She choked, stumbling back, her flashlight crashing to the ground. In the dimness, she saw him, Keyface, his spines scraping the ceiling as he lurched forward. The demon's cracked, mask-like face split into a jagged grin. His long finger traced the fresh keyhole on her wrist, as if claiming ownership. Emily barely escaped as the tunnel collapsed behind her. Emily began hearing soft humming throughout the house, melodies she remembered from the foster children she once lived with. Lights flickered in patterns, radios turned on by themselves, and through the static came tiny voices. "Help us, he has us." One night, Emily found her childhood drawing box overturned, papers scattered everywhere. Among them were drawings she never made, images of pale children standing behind bars of darkness. She realized the children who vanished hadn't simply died. Their spirits were trapped in the further, their souls claimed by Keyface. Determined to reach them, Emily attempted a seance, placing candles around her room. The flames bent sideways, pulled toward an unseen force. Suddenly, dozens of small hands made of shadow pressed against the walls, reaching out. A child's voice whispered directly into her ear, "We can hear you." Emily's breath caught as the temperature plummeted. She understood that the children weren't haunting her, they were begging her to free them. But entering the further meant facing Keyface in his realm, where his power was absolute. As the candles extinguished one by one, the last child's whisper chilled her to the bone. "If you don't come for us soon, he will take you too." Sleep became dangerous. Every time Emily drifted off, sleep paralysis locked her body in place, while Keyface's world pulled her deeper inside. One night, she found herself standing in a cold, endless hallway within the further, lined with hundreds of locked doors stretching into the shadows. Each door trembled as children screamed behind them, their cries overlapping in a haunting chorus. Emily reached for the nearest handle, but it burned her hand like molten iron. The scream from inside abruptly cut off. The hallway darkened, the air thickening with dread. Chains rattled behind her. Keyface emerged from the void, dragging his spiked chains along the floor, sparks flickering where they scraped. He towered over her, his hollow eyes glowing faint red. "I don't want the children," he rasped, voice echoing like broken metal. "I want you." Emily backed away, trembling, as he revealed the truth. She had been chosen since birth, marked by a cursed bloodline tied to the foster home's horrific past. Keyface had followed her for years, waiting for the perfect moment when her fear and memories aligned. Now that she had returned, the demon no longer needed to hide. She was finally where he wanted her. Emily learned from the whispering spirits that the key she found wasn't meant to open a physical door at all. It was her soul's key, forged to imprison her spirit forever in the further. To break her connection, she had to confront Keyface and sever the bond herself. She prepared for the fight by surrounding herself with symbols the children taught her, drawn in chalk and salt. But when the hour struck 3:11 a.m., she felt the pull again, stronger than ever. Her room dissolved into darkness as she was dragged into a twisted reconstruction of her childhood bedroom. The wallpaper peeled like skin, the toys melted into black sludge, the bed frame twisted like bones. Keyface stood in the corner, waiting, his chains coiling and uncoiling like snakes. Emily felt terror churn inside her, but she stepped forward anyway, clutching the key that pulsed with heat in her hand. As she approached, Keyface lifted her chin with a long, cracked finger. "You were always meant for me." Emily swung the key like a weapon, but he dodged easily, laughing. The final battle had begun, and the further trembled with every strike. Emily's heart pounded as she and Keyface clashed inside the further. The demon lunged with supernatural speed, chains whipping around her like serpents. She dodged, using the children's whispers as guidance. Each spirit touched her hand, giving her brief surges of strength. She unlocked the chains binding the trapped children one by one, releasing bursts of blinding light that weakened Keyface. Furious, the demon slammed her against the wall, cracking it like glass. Emily gasped, raising the key with trembling hands. Keyface charged, but she thrust the glowing key directly into his chest. A deafening scream ripped through the further as the demon's body fractured, light pouring from every crack. Emily felt the ground collapsing below her as the children pulled her away, urging her to return to her body. The world shattered, then everything went silent. Emily awoke on her bedroom floor, gasping for air. She looked at her hands. The key had dissolved into her skin. Before she could process what happened, the door behind her slowly unlocked on its own. Emily's eyes reflected a brief flash of darkness. Somewhere deeper in the house, chains rattled softly, like something had followed her back.